In lesson 1, we reviewed how to identify if a fraction problem needed the fractions to be rewritten before adding or subtracting. We established that if you identify the denominators of both of the fractions and notice that they are different, then this fraction problem will have to be rewritten before it can be added or subtracted. Here's an example of a fraction where the denominators are the same. And since they are the same, neither of these fractions will need to be rewritten. And again, here we have a 10 for one denominator and we have a 15 for the other denominator. That means that these two fractions will need to be rewritten before they can be, in this case, subtracted. And so we marked it. And then this last one, you notice that both of them say 13, and therefore they do not need to be rewritten before they can be subtracted. In lesson number 2, we established that you were going to, first of all, review how to write equivalent fractions. And in this case, you were asked as a student to practice writing equivalent fractions for the first fraction in the problem. And therefore, we ended up getting 3/4, 6/8, 9/12, 12/16, and 15/20. In this next lesson, lesson number 3, you will then be asked to do the exact same thing for the second fraction in the problem. This, of course, being a fraction where we identified that the denominators were not the same, therefore they would both, in this case, both would have to be rewritten. So we're going to go ahead and find equivalent fractions for the second fraction. So we begin with 1 times 1 and 6 times 1. We end up with 1/6. The next one says 1 times 2 and 6 times 2, which results in 2/12. The third one says 1 times 3 and 6 times 3, which results in 3/18. The fourth one says 1 times 4 and 6 times 4, which results in 4/24. And the last one is 1 times 5 and 6 times 5, which results in 5/30. And in this way, you have now, as after the third lesson, you have generated 5 equivalent fractions for the first fraction in the problem, as well as 5 equivalent fractions for the second problem. If you need to, please use the link for Jamboard in the description of this video if you have any questions. And also, you may click on the Khan Academy video link if you need another review of how to write equivalent fractions.